Alright, so it is Monday morning and it is my first day of my pediatric clerkship. It's another 6-week clerkship and my first 2 weeks are on the inpatient unit, so a little bit nervous about that because it's going to be probably the sickest kids, most complex cases, and I'm coming straight off of psychiatry, so I really haven't thought about medicine too much. And pediatrics is back to a very general specialty of medicine where you kind of have to know a little bit about everything. And even though it is pediatrics, it does incorporate a lot of just like adult medicine because I'm pretty sure we'll see patients up to like 21, 22 years old. So, you really have to be prepared for everything you see from before a baby is born all the way up until they're actually an adult. So today is just going to be kind of like an orientation, I think. I'm supposed to go to the hospital. I'm assigned to around 9 to meet the site director, have a little tour, and then I think I do start working today. I assume I'll probably get there after rounds, so I won't be responsible for seeing patients and presenting or anything like that. I'll just kind of get a general flow of what it's like on the floor, meet everyone, and then later today we have a few lectures. All right, so it is Wednesday. Just got back from the hospital. It's around 6 o'clock. First few days of inpatient have been good. It has certainly been a big adjustment going from psych back to something medicine related. On psych I did do presentations, but obviously they're very focused on really just the patient's psychiatric conditions, and they're pretty regimented. You always kind of ask the same questions and present them sort of in the same order, in the same way. So it's taken a few days to adjust back to sort of a different kind of medical presentation, and also the treatment plan and trying to figure out when a patient can be discharged safely. I think it did take a few days, but I'm starting to get back in the swing of things. In terms of how pediatrics is, I already think I like it a little bit more than IM. One of the big reasons is even though kids are sick enough to be in the hospital, they're still usually a lot healthier than adults who are admitted to the hospital. In IM, you have patients who are admitted for pneumonia, but they have 5-6 other chronic conditions that you have to juggle. Some people really like that. I prefer things to be a little bit more cut and dry and simple, and you're only having to deal with the one issue that the patient has. The other good thing about peds is kids usually get better pretty fast. We will have a list in the morning that's 12 patients, and by the afternoon we might have discharged half of them. So there's more of a rapid turnover, so it's nice to see kids make the improvement and then walk out smiling. It is really tough trying to learn all of the normal values and just generally what a normal kid looks like based on their age. My first day we had I think a 7-day-old, and their blood pressure was 60/40. And if you saw that blood pressure in an adult, you would be freaking out and giving them a bunch of fluids, probably putting them on pressors. But for a newborn, it's completely normal. Another difference so far between at least pediatrics and IM is for pediatrics, at least the hospital that I'm at, there's just one little area of the hospital that's peds. There is, I want to say 10 beds for the normal floor, and then 6 or 7 for the PICU. But it's still all in the same area. It's, very different from my IM rotation where, we would have the little IM area where the residents would, hang out at, but their patients are all over the hospital. So, you would have to be walking all around. It's not really easy to just check up on your patients throughout the day, but on peds, it's just its own little wing. We have a workroom right there, so whenever things come up, lab results come back, if you want to go examine a kid again in the afternoon when they're a little bit more awake, it's very easy to do so. So far I've been enjoying the experience. The interesting thing is there's been a lot more like adolescents and even adults than I was expecting. Pediatrics, at least I think in the hospital that I'm at, we will see patients up to 21 years old. And like the vast majority of my patients so far have been probably like 16 and older. So just different than what I was expecting. I was expecting mostly younger kids, but I think maybe it's because of the time in the year. We're kind of starting to move into like RSV flu season. Some of the staff has said that gets really bad in terms of littler kids being admitted. But yeah, just pretty interesting. So I've got 2 more days left of this week, and then I'm actually going back home to Maryland this weekend because it's Labor Day and we have 3 days off, which is very rare in medicine. So it's gonna be great to see my family. It's been a little bit of time. It's been a really long time since Mackenzie came back with me to see everyone. So looking forward to that. All right, I'm back in New Jersey. The end of the week in terms of peds was very similar to the first few days. I guess I never really went over the workflow of what working in peds is like. So similar to like other medical specialties, we'll get there early in the morning. I have to get there like around 7, so not too early compared to other specialties, but definitely earlier than I was used to getting there on psych. But anyway, we'll get there, check the list, see who came in overnight. Usually that's when most of the admissions happen, surprisingly, is like after we leave. I don't really know the reason for that, but that's just what I noticed throughout the week. But anyways, we'll kind of pre-round with looking at Epic, seeing different lab results, notes, maybe from consultations, that kind of stuff. Then go see the patient, do a physical, see how they're doing. And then I like to start to prep my notes pretty much as soon as I get there, just because it helps organize my presentations for later on rounds. So I'll enter in most of my notes before rounds. Then usually around 10 is when the floor team rounds, but if there are any ICU patients, the ICU rounds are at 9. Since we're not on an ICU rotation, we don't really like see those patients or follow them or anything like that, but we'll still go to PICU rounds because it's a good educational opportunity. So between the nurses and the ICU doc, they'll like actually present the patient and then we'll just talk about it. They'll ask us questions, all that kind of stuff. So that's usually like 9 to 9:30. There hasn't been more than like 2 ICU patients at the same time. So that's why it doesn't take that long. And then we'll start actual rounds at 10. We do all walking rounds, which is, always a big difference between table rounds and walking rounds. I usually prefer table rounds because it's a little bit more relaxed. It's easier to have your notes in front of you and also like look stuff up, but there isn't like a good area to do table rounds up there. So we'll just go right outside of the patient room. We'll present and then go see the patient as a team, and rounds will last anywhere from 10 to like 11 or 12, depending on how many patients there are and how complex they are. So yeah, we usually wrap up around 11 or 12. Then I'll go and just finish my notes based on like what the attending said in terms of the plan. I'll be able to alter what I said because I'm usually not right. And then I'll sign my notes and then go to lunch. And then in the afternoon, it's a lot of just like sitting around and studying, honestly. There isn't too much to do unless we have an admission, but like I said, usually the admissions happen a little bit later, like after 5, which is when I typically leave. So yeah, I just hang out, do some studying, maybe check up on a patient, and just like throughout the day, I'll just check to see if any like lab results that we're waiting on have come back. So yeah, it's not that bad. I mean, the morning is the busy part, and usually I can get all my studying done before I even leave the hospital, which is nice because then I can just relax once I get home. So yeah, that's how peds has been. In terms of this weekend, like I said, went home, saw family, saw friends, celebrated mine and Mackenzie's anniversary, which was awesome. Got to go into DC for a very nice dinner. Been a while since we did that. I always love going into DC. Hung out at the pool for Labor Day, which was awesome. All in all, just a very good weekend. In terms of this week coming up, I have inpatient again. Only get 2 weeks of inpatient, and then it's just like 1 week of a bunch of other stuff. I'll do emergency medicine after that, and then we have like a subspecialty week, which at the hospital that I'm at, you're like defaulted to pediatric neuro. I'm trying to switch that because I already did a whole neurology clerkship at that hospital. So I feel like I have a pretty good grasp on neurology. I would like to see something different, but we'll see about that. I might have to be outsourced to a different hospital. I'm not sure how that would work. So that is TBD. And then my 5th week is nursery. So that's going to be really fun. And then my final week is just like an outpatient clinic. Yeah, exciting stuff. It's crazy that this is my second to last clerkship, and I only have like a little over 2 months for my core rotation. All right, well, that is going to do it for today's video. If you enjoyed, please be sure to leave a like below and subscribe if you want to see videos like this in the future. Thanks, and I'll see you in the next one.